Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something we all deal with and frankly, something that is just flat out exhausting, taking things personally. We're going to break down an absolutely fascinating playbook from public speaker Frederick Imbo, who found a totally wild way to study this exact phenomenon. And we're going to map out exactly how you can rewire your brain to find a little more peace in your daily life.
Okay, let's jump right into the deep end here. Imagine stepping onto a soccer pitch and instantly having a huge, angry crowd screaming this right in your face, "Loser! Are you blind?" Wow, it literally stings just thinking about it, doesn't it? It is such a direct, visceral attack. Which brings us to the massive question at the center of our explainer today. How do you not take things personally? We've all been there. Maybe you aren't being screamed at by sports fans, but maybe you're getting criticized at work after pouring your heart into a project, or maybe a friend just left you on read. It's this universal human pain point that can completely derail your entire day.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the referee's dilemma, facing the crowd.
To tackle this problem head-on, Frederick Imbo did something kind of crazy. He intentionally signed up to be a football referee. And get this, he was only making €20 a match. Why would anyone do that? Well, partly to stay in shape, sure. But mostly, he wanted to use those angry, screaming fans who constantly use the ref as a scapegoat as a real-time boot camp for his brain. He wanted to force himself to learn how to let criticism just bounce right off him. But, why do we need this kind of emotional training off the field? That brings us to Section 2, the ego trap, and our everyday triggers. We might not have actual fans yelling at us, but we deal with this stuff every single day. A tailgater flashing their headlights at you because you're driving a little slow. A friend bailing on plans at the last minute. Or, you're presenting a big project and the audience is just scrolling on their smartphones. Or even just noticing some colleagues laughing across the room. In a split second, these everyday moments make us feel hunted, neglected, or just totally unimportant.
But here is the secret. That's actually just your ego talking. Our ego is that deeply ingrained part of our psyche that absolutely demands to be taken into consideration. It expects to be acknowledged, it insists on being right, and it literally hates being criticized. It tricks us into thinking we are constantly under attack, which just exhausts us by forcing a nonstop fight against the rest of the world. It tells you, hey, it's their fault you feel this way.
And this brings up the ultimate choice you face every single time you feel offended. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Because clinging to your ego just to prove a point, that is an exhausting, all-day battle that will drain your energy fast. But letting go, deciding not to take it personally, that completely frees you up to experience actual harmony and connection.
Which leads us to our first real strategy in Section 3. It's not about me.
Think of this like a referee tossing a coin before the match. We basically have two strategies here. Strategy 1 is to shift your focus and tell yourself, it's not about me. And if that doesn't work, well, strategy 2 is recognizing when it is about you. Let's look at that first side of the coin. Strategy 1 is all about shifting from me to we. You have to actively look for the other person's true intention. That tailgater flashing their lights, they aren't mad at your driving, they're probably just in a terrible rush. Or think about a toddler throwing a massive tantrum on the floor yelling, "I hate you." You don't take that personally, do you? Of course not. You know they're just tired and want to stay up late. Their actions are about their needs, not a reflection of your worth. It creates space for understanding instead of irritation. I know, assuming positive intent is so much easier said than done. And why is that? Because our brains are literally wired against us. Get this, the average human brain produces around 50,000 thoughts a single day. And a staggering 40,000 of them, that's 80%, are totally negative. So when those colleagues are laughing across the room, your brain's default setting immediately jumps to, oh, they're definitely gossiping about me, rather than, hey, maybe they just noticed my new shoes and liked them. Seeing the positive takes some serious mental discipline.
But what happens when that first strategy completely fails? Section 4. It is about me. Strategy 2.
Let's flip that coin. Because sometimes it's not about me just doesn't cut it. Look, if someone walked up to you on the street and called you an orange, you wouldn't be offended, right? You know it isn't true. But if someone calls you selfish or a loser, and it really, truly hurts, that hits a raw nerve. And when we get offended like that, it usually means there's an uncomfortable truth hiding in there, or a part of ourselves we just haven't come to terms with. Criticism stings because it holds up a mirror to our own deep insecurities. A lot of times, it's poking right at an unresolved childhood trauma. Just imagine being a kid, bringing home a 9 out of 10 on a test, feeling super proud, and your parents just ask why it wasn't a perfect 10. That permanently installs this heavy feeling of, I'm never good enough. So when someone criticizes you today, it rips that exact same childhood wound right back open.
When that raw nerve gets hit, the playbook says you need to lean into empathy and vulnerability. You literally have to look in the mirror and give yourself a little grace. You say, ouch, this hurts right now because I'm just longing for recognition. And then, instead of lashing out, you speak up vulnerably. If someone walks away to watch TV while you're talking, don't yell at them. Just say, hey, I was sharing a story and you walked away. It makes me feel like you don't care. By simply stating your needs without blaming, you actually give the other person a real chance to understand you.
Let's lock this mindset in permanently with our final chapter, Section 5, Your Inherent Value, the 20-euro bill. Imbo closes out his framework with this incredible visual metaphor using his 20-euro referee payment. I want you to picture a crisp, clean 20-euro bill in your hand. Now imagine taking that bill and violently crushing it up in your fist.
Now imagine throwing it in the dirt, spit on it, step on it, grind it into the ground. Throughout your life, people are going to attack you, criticize you, ignore you, and try to walk all over you, exactly like that crumpled piece of paper.
But here is the absolute most important thing you have to remember from this explainer. Whatever they do or whatever they say, you will always keep your value. That crumpled, dirty bill, it's still worth exactly 20 euros. It hasn't lost a single cent of its worth, and neither do you. No matter how much the world beats you up, your inherent value as a human being remains completely intact.
So, I want to leave you with a final thought to test out in the real world. Next time you feel offended, I want you to picture that referee's coin. When your ego flares up today and you feel that familiar sting, which side of the coin are you going to play? Will you focus on their intentions, or will you bravely look inward? The choice is entirely yours.